If you feel like there's a light inside of you that you're meant to shine, to kind of lead and guide others, if you feel like a lighthouse, like someone that has this light that you're shining and you're guiding people through the fog towards the light, I found a lot of that process can feel really, really exhausting. It can also feel really discouraging, really confusing, and quite difficult, which is strange because you would think that it should feel like it's exciting and happy and full of light and joy all the time. But just because you have that to share doesn't mean that that is always your personal experience. And sometimes I think because you have that light to share, if you're not feeling it in your own life, you can feel like you're doing something wrong, or like you shouldn't be sharing with others, or you won't do it in the right way. And how do I show up to encourage people to light the way if I'm not feeling like I'm able to light myself up, I think the answer always comes back to authenticity. You just have to be 100% fully your authentic self. You've been placed with this mission to lead and guide others, and to do that, you can't be putting on a front. You can't be putting on a persona. You can't be pretending to be someone else because it won't work. The only way for you to let that light out is just to be yourself. And with that means showing up with the parts of you that might feel like your dark side, or when you're feeling heavy and kind of low. And that's part of being authentic. I think that's part of expressing authenticity, is just showing up where you're at in this moment with what you have to offer and saying, here it is. I'm laying my cards out on the table. I'm not doing it so you like me or so that something specific happens. I'm just doing it so I can show you that I'm willing to be vulnerable and place this on the table. And through doing that, on the days that you feel low maybe, or that you don't have all the light to give, or it feels like that is the way that you're doing it. I think that the transfer of light, of love to people, of guidance through your actions is just by being yourself. In the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, it's not about being a perfect version of yourself all the time. It's just about receiving the information in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, and just letting it out regardless of what the external circumstances are and the internal circumstances. Because if you're holding yourself back from releasing that light, that guidance, being that lighthouse in the distance on the days when you're feeling down or like you don't have anything to offer, then you're doing yourself a disfavor by choosing to hide that portion of you in the corner and saying, well, I am a human. I am having a human experience and I have a human body, and I might not be feeling 100% today, but I'm not going to tell anybody that, or I'm not going to express that, or I'm not going to choose to guide and lead through that experience of just saying, this is where I'm at. That is a blockage. That's a blockage. You're hiding something. You're avoiding something, and you're not expressing your full 100% authentic self. And it feels weird to think about sharing your light from a place of discomfort, of dissatisfaction, of sadness, of anger, of depression, of grief, of anxiety. It feels like that's not the place to express from. That's not the place to lead from. That's not the place to guide people towards the light from. But when you show up on those days, when you're feeling like that, that's actually a form of letting it out, of letting that light out, of expressing your true self. That's a way of showing people that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to accept all parts of you. Because if you're only showing up in this perfect kind of persona version of yourself where you're happy all the time, where you always have something to share, where you always feel like you know exactly what you're supposed to do or what you're supposed to say or how you're supposed to lead, then you're actually not living fully aligned. Because you're avoiding a part of you that exists. We all have a shadow side. We all have a bit of a darker side. We all have a side of ourselves that maybe we don't love, or it shows up and we're like, oh, I need to work on that. Those things happen. You might feel low one day. You might feel like it's hard to show up. And that's a part of the journey. That's a part of the experience, and you need to share that. Because a lot of people on this planet having this experience of being a human being are having a tough time. And I think on some days, not all the time, but on some days when you're feeling low and it feels like you have to show up differently to be a guide in the way you feel called to, you're doing yourself and you're doing the people that you interact with a disservice by not being honest. Because you need to show people that by living a life of love, of alignment, of spreading light, being a good person, following your spiritual intuition and mission and purpose and all of these things, to do that, you need to embrace all aspects of yourself. And you need to see that the whole journey, the lows as well, are part of it, are part of the experience, are part of a life of love and light. Because there is a picture painted, especially in the media and a lot of people on social media, and I have been guilty of this in the past. I'm not trying to say I'm not, where you look at people talking, sharing advice, like literally what I'm doing right now, and you go, oh, they have it all together. They must have it figured out. Wow, Harrison must just feel perfect all the time and have this light coming through him, and he's meditating every day and he's doing all the things. I wish I was doing that. And I'm here to say, no, we need to break that understanding and see, oh, everybody has a full picture. And the way to do that is to share and be authentically yourself on the days when you're not feeling great, or the periods of time or the seasons of life. It could be months at a time where you're feeling like, oh, I kind of feel low and like stuck and maybe a little depressed and maybe a little anxious about what's to come, and like I don't feel aligned with my life and my soul's mission and purpose, but I want to keep following the light and sharing it. Well, guess what? You can still do that from that place. It just doesn't mean you have to force yourself to be positive and optimistic and like allow the light out in the way you think it should come out. You can allow it out and share it with people in the way that it wants to come out in this moment, which could be from a place of what feels like a little bit of a lower frequency today. And that's cool. That's okay. You can't always be this perfectly aligned, like quote unquote enlightened being. You know what I mean? I mean, very few of us are actually there. There's like a few people maybe in history that have like fully, achieved that. But having that like force, that pressure on top of you, that's the only way you can be, a light worker. You can help people on their path to awakening and help yourself. Having that perception that the only way you can do it is if you're feeling good, if you're feeling positive, if you have like this, big wise piece of truth to share, I think that's actually restrictive. Like it holds you back from being able to share the whole journey. And if you feel called to help people, if you feel called to guide people through your experience, through what you're sharing, through your work, through your art, through whatever it is, then you've got to embrace the whole thing. And that starts with you personally embracing the whole thing. Now, why am I going on this rant, right? Why am I saying all this? And it's coming from a place of the past few months. As I've been recording this podcast, I've been slowly, every week, starting to feel a little bit more like I don't have anything to say. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a hard time. I feel so stuck. Like I have this ball of light and energy inside of me that I need to let out, but I don't know how to do it, and I'm not doing it right, and I feel discouraged, and I feel like I don't have anything to say, but I know I need to keep saying things, and I don't know what to say. That's what's been going on behind the scenes here, and I feel the need to express it today because I've been holding myself back from being my full self in the hopes that I can lead and follow my purpose and let the light out in the way that I think you, as a listener, want to receive it. But who am I to know that? There's no way I could possibly know what you need to hear right now. And my job, I'm realizing, is not to know what you need to hear right now. It's not to know what anybody needs to hear. It's not to know what exactly to say. But my job is to be, as I've talked about before, my biggest, brightest, most beautiful self and embrace it 100% authentically. And that means sharing that sometimes I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea why I'm here. I have no idea why the cicadas are so loud today and it feels like I have to yell at the podcast. And I wish I had the answers, and I wish that I could show up in my mind differently and have it be like, I'm so chill, everything's so great, I know I'm following my purpose, and I know exactly how this fits into my plan. But honestly, I have no idea. But as I've mentioned a lot, I'm just trying to follow the little breadcrumbs that I feel like I'm being left, that are guiding me in directions that I don't even understand. But I am open right now, at this phase in my life, to just receiving whatever I need to receive and following that path of breadcrumbs to wherever it is going. And part of doing that is needing to just be 100% honest, 100% authentic, and not worry about doing it right. You don't have to do anything the right way. Because, fun fact, there is no right way to do anything. There are infinite choices for any situation. There are infinite realities, infinite timelines for this specific moment. And so thinking that there is one right way that you need to show up, one right way for you to execute your soul's purpose, to follow your spiritual alignment, that there's only one way to do that, I think is holding you back. And I can say that because it's been holding me back. Because I'm trying to fit this world of infinite possibilities and the ways things could work out into this one specific little slit that I'm yes, this is it. It's going to be this way. It's going to show up in this way. It needs to happen this way. And this is what I've decided. But who am I to know the way it's going to happen? There's no way you could possibly know the best way or the right way to do something. The only way to arrive where you're meant to be is simply by moving forward one step at a time, and knowing that you will arrive where you're meant to be because you're always where you're meant to be. There is no set plan of okay, you need to be here on this day exactly at this time, and if you mess up and don't show up or you get out of bed late, well, you're not going to make it. That's not how it works. There's no way that could possibly be how it works. So it's not about doing the right thing. It's about following your heart, showing up authentically as much as you possibly can in the fullest way possible, and knowing that wherever you end up is where you're meant to be. And yes, you could have been in a different place. There's something you have to do maybe today, and you could have done it maybe yesterday, or you could maybe not do it today and end up doing it, a week from now. And there's infinite realities in which you could be doing different things, being in different places, and all of them are correct. All of them are correct. There's no right way. And I think I've been feeling like there's some sort of like predetermined path that I have to be on, and I have to, arrive at like 9 a.m. on this day. And then if you miss it, you've missed your opportunity. There was like one chance. No, infinite chances. There's infinite possibilities. If you miss one and the universe put like a sign in front of you or an opportunity in front of you, and you didn't see it and you weren't ready for it, then you weren't ready for it. And guess what? Another one's going to come your way, and it's going to present itself in a week, or maybe the next day, and it's going to be different. But maybe it just wasn't time, last time. And so the signs, the support, the guidance is always there, and it's not about showing up and arriving at the right time. It's just about knowing that you will arrive where you're meant to be, when you're meant to be there, in the right way, that it was meant to happen. And you can take this as your sign to release control of trying to do things the right way to allow your purpose to manifest in the way maybe you want. Release that. Allow it just to happen, and know that you'll be caught, and know that you'll be guided in the right direction as long as you're showing up 100% authentically, in the lows, in the highs, no matter what. So I'm going to use this episode as a bit of a chance to promise myself and to promise you that I'm going to keep doing that. And there might be periods of time through that, which kind of scares me, to be honest, where I might be feeling like I'm not super optimistic, and I'm kind of confused, and I'm really not sure how to show up. And I wish that I had more answers. And there's going to be periods of time, which right now is kind of one of them, where I'm feeling like that. But this is me saying it out loud, so you know that I will always try my best from now on to express the full picture of what I'm feeling, because I want you to do the same, and I want us to do the same, because that's part of our job. Part of your job as a light worker, as someone trying to make this world a better place, is to be 100% of yourself all of the time, embracing it and showing up fully even when you're down. And so I'm going to do that. And I've been scared of doing that in my personal life, when I'm creating things, when I'm making art, when I'm sharing the podcast. And that's not to say I'm going to come on here and just like rant about, I hate everything and everything sucks. I tend to always have a positive outlook, or like a little bit of an optimistic lens, even looking at the kind of tough things. But I just want you to know that I'm here, struggling a little bit to know why we're here. Like, what is our purpose? Why am I here today on this log recording this podcast? I don't know. And I hope that me sharing that allows you to release any pressure you might be feeling of like, you have to know, because you don't have to know. We don't have to know. We just have to keep showing up for ourselves and for each other. And so I'm doing that by being here today, talking to you. And I would encourage you to think about one thing you could do today to do that. Maybe it's when you see somebody at the grocery store and they ask how you're doing, and you say, actually, I'm having a bit of a tough day. That's it. That's part of it. It can be as simple as that. I saw somebody at the grocery store yesterday. Most of the time you see somebody, you go, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And I said, yeah, I'm good. Everything's great. It was a random stranger. I never met this lady in my life. She was behind me at the till at the grocery store. I said, hey, how you doing? And she said, honestly, really hard day. And I said, oh, what's going on? She was like, I don't want to talk about it. But then we had a little conversation about, what she's going to do to feel better and maybe what she needed. And when I left, I was like, I hope you have a good night and I hope you feel better. And she was like, thank you. And she said some kind words to me, and we had that interaction. It wouldn't have happened if she had just been like, yeah, I'm good. It would have been stopped there. Our human connection wouldn't have dove any deeper than this surface level. And so some people may not be willing to receive that, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean you have to avoid being honest. That is my one challenge to you, is this week, be honest with how you're doing with other people. Be honest in how you show up, and don't feel like you have to tuck away this version of yourself as someone here to light up the world. You don't have to tuck away any version of yourself. In fact, that I think can be more harmful, at least in my experience, than good. So you don't have to have all the answers, and if you feel like you do, this is your reminder that you don't. You don't have to have all the answers, because you couldn't possibly have all the answers. You're not equipped to have all the answers, but you are equipped to receive the guidance, to walk in the direction you feel like you're most called to, and to continue to show up as authentically as you can, even in the times when it feels tough. Now, before I wrap up, I just want to take a second and thank one person that sent me an email. I've been posting some clips on TikTok just to try to share with more people, and she found the podcast and reached out, and I really, really appreciated hearing from you. This goes out to Sophia, if you're listening. Thank you for the email. It really, really encouraged me on the day that you sent this to continue sharing my voice, to continue showing up like I'm saying today, even on the days when maybe it feels like you don't have much to say. Those things really mean a lot. So thank you for anybody that has sent in a message or an email saying that you appreciate the podcast and that you're right here going through it with me. That's really what this is meant to be for me, is a space to kind of build community. Although we're not all talking to each other or hanging out together right now, maybe in the future that would be something to do. Would be kind of cool to have like a community space or host an event or something. But just knowing that there are other people out here going through the same experience and hearing that from you is really encouraging. And of course, thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to support me, I have a goal of reaching 1,000 people this year on the podcast. I just really feel, like I've said before, called to share the messages that I'm receiving to be myself and to encourage and support people on their journey. So if you want to support the podcast and you want to support growing this space so we could potentially have, community events and things like that in the future, please share this with somebody that you love or somebody that you thought of during this episode or right now that maybe would enjoy it. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Like, so good. Just enjoy it. Even if you're having a bit of a hard time or if you're having an absolutely amazing day, either way, just try to enjoy it. Be where you're at. It's beautiful to be alive, to be a human. As tough as it can be sometimes, it's also such an incredible blessing and gift. Try your best to enjoy it. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next week.